Hey, I'm Rachel Koronek, and here's 10 things that I've learned over 10 years of running my own food photography business. The first thing is that a no can be turned into a yes. So I've reached out to clients and I've heard no. Sometimes they say we don't have room for you, or maybe they don't even work that way. But 6 months later, 9 months later, sometimes even 3 years later, I've been able to turn that no into a yes. Now, maybe you don't want to hear that it can take months or years, but the thing is, if you want to remember, is that if this is your business long term, all the work you do today can lead to work in the future. So if you want it badly enough, you can turn that no into a yes. Thing number 2 is that your mindset actually matters more than your photos. Now, I know that sounds crazy because we get paid to take photos, but if our mindset is not in check, we can self-sabotage. We can doubt ourselves. We can let imposter syndrome drive our decisions. Being creative is hard, and there's a lot to unpack in terms of mental health. One thing I've noticed is that it's not the best photographers who succeed. It's those people who believed in themselves, those people who kept showing up, who worked on their mindset. Now, we're all human and we feel the same things. So if you feel like things aren't working for you, maybe check if your mindset needs to be worked on. Thing number 3 is diversifying your income. So it's hard to make a full-time living from your creative pursuits. And stress and pressure is not a good thing for creativity. So I think how you survive in the long term is by diversifying your income. And that can look so different depending on what you want to do with your creative business. You could sell digital products, you could have advertising revenue, affiliates, sponsored posts, you could have a blog, you could even have a totally different job part-time if you want. There's so many different ways that you could approach this. Thing 4 is, what's the worst that can happen? So I used to be terrified when I first started food photography that the worst things would happen. But literally, the worst thing that could happen is you take a photography job and you don't get paid because the client's not happy. So when you feel fearful of doing new things, ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen? And then you can ask yourself, is it worth taking that risk? Because I tell you, 9.5 times out of 10, you can actually sort things out with the client, and the worst that you think will happen will never actually happen. Thing number 5 is that it is almost impossible to get everything you want done in a day. But if you keep showing up, you keep working as much as you can, you'll be astounded at what you can achieve in 10 years. Thing number 6 is invest in yourself. You are your best asset. It took me years to figure that out. I didn't feel worthy to invest in myself. It's one thing I wish I changed because I'm never going to get that time back. Whether it's investing in gear or taking courses, invest in yourself because nobody else will. Thing number 7, it is okay to say no. When I first started out, I was saying yes to everything. It doesn't work. It is okay to say no to the wrong projects, to free yourself up for the right ones. Thing number 8 is learning to trust yourself. It's not easy. It took me years to learn to trust myself, to trust that I would find my style, that clients would like my work, that I'd be able to make a long-term career out of this. Trusting yourself is like a muscle. We have to build it up. And the thing is, if you don't trust yourself, nobody else is going to do it for you. Thing number 9, and this is my favorite, is to find a friend. So this journey can be lonely, and not everybody gets it. If you talk to people who are not creative or not trying to run a business, they can't always empathize with where you are. So find a friend, find a colleague, find someone through a blog or through Instagram who you can really talk about things with. Talk about creative difficulties, talk about mindset struggles, talk about difficult clients. The creative friendships that I have built have been some of the greatest friendships I've ever had, and I wouldn't have made it through without them. So thanks to those people, you know who you are. Thing number 10 is that you have to enjoy the journey. This is a hard road. Being creative is hard. Running a business is hard. And thinking about how are you going to get there 10 years later if you don't enjoy the journey, I don't know how I would have done it otherwise. Not to say the journey is always easy, but if you love what you do, you love food photography, and you find ways to enjoy the journey along the way, I actually think that's the definition of success. So what did I miss? What's the number one thing that you've learned from your time being a food photographer? Let me know in the comments. And thanks so much for watching. A no. A first thing. Number 2. That was so dumb. I know what the number 10 is. Okay.